You wake up one perfect suburban morning to find a bright yellow violation notice taped to your door like a ransom note. Non-compliant exterior color. $750 fine. Signed by the HOA president herself. But that was just the beginning. Because 2 days later, Karen Prescott informed me that my entire property had mysteriously become part of her little beige empire thanks to some updated boundaries. My name is Ryan Bennett. I'd bought the house on Maple Crest Lane in Sunnyvale Grove, Texas, after the divorce, craving the kind of quiet where the only drama was whether the sprinklers ran on schedule. 3 years of peace. I'd painted the trim a deep slate blue because it reminded me of the sky right before a summer storm. Nothing crazy, just mine. The rest of the neighborhood looked like someone had dipped the whole block in vanilla pudding. Perfect lawns. Matching mailboxes. Zero personality. I figured I was safe. The county records said my lot sat just outside the original HOA footprint. My realtor had sworn it. So when that yellow envelope fluttered in the breeze, I laughed. Actually laughed out loud in my driveway, while the neighbor across the street pretended to water flowers that didn't need watering. I crumpled the paper, tossed it in the recycling and went back to my coffee. Big mistake. 2 mornings later the doorbell rang with that fake polite ding-dong that always means trouble. I opened it to find Karen Prescott herself, clipboard in one manicured hand, pearls gleaming like tiny weapons. She wore a pastel pink pantsuit that probably cost more than my mortgage payment, and a smile sharp enough to cut glass. "Ryan dear," she cooed like we were old bridge club buddies. "I'm so sorry to bother you on a Saturday. I'm Pam Whitaker, wait. Everyone calls me Karen, but that's just the silly neighborhood nickname." She laughed, a sound like wind chimes made of broken dreams. "I'm president of the Sunnyvale Grove Homeowners Association. We need to chat about your creative color choices." I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "Creative? It's slate blue. Approved by me, the owner." Her smile never wavered. "Bless your heart. According to our updated jurisdictional maps filed last year, your property now falls squarely within our design standards. Beige palette only, dear. Section 4.2. We've already sent 3 reminders." I stared at her. "Updated maps? I bought this place in 2022. No HOA county records are crystal clear." She flipped a page on her clipboard and slid a glossy printout toward me like it was the Holy Grail. The map showed my house swallowed inside a thick red line labeled, "Redrawn 2023, Community Expansion." Official-looking stamps. Signatures. The works. I didn't take the paper. Cute Photoshop job. My original deed says otherwise. Karen's eyes narrowed just a fraction, the only crack in the porcelain mask. "Boundaries evolve as communities grow, Ryan. It's quite common. We're all family here. And families have rules. For the children. For property values." She leaned in, voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "You wouldn't want to be the one who drags everyone's equity down, would you?" I smiled back, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. "Family, huh? Funny how family never knocks before walking onto private property." She tittered. "Oh, I'm not on your property, dear. The sidewalk is common area. Technically." Then she turned on her kitten heel and click-clacked down the driveway, calling over her shoulder, 72 hours to repaint or the fines double. Ta! I watched her go, the perfect suburban smile plastered on her face while she waved at Mrs. Alvarez next door like a parade queen. The second her Lexus disappeared around the corner, I pulled out my phone and started recording everything I could remember. Dates. Times. Exact words. I didn't know it yet, but that little habit was going to save my house. The next week the yellow envelopes multiplied like rabbits on Viagra. $750 became $1,500. Then came the courtesy letter threatening liens. I ignored them. I had the original deed framed on my office wall. But every night I lay awake listening to the sprinklers hiss and wondering how deep this rabbit hole went. 3 days later the white Lexus returned. This time Karen brought backup, a slick lawyer type in a suit that screamed billable hours. Jonathan Klein, she introduced him, voice dripping honey. "We just want to resolve this amicably, Ryan. Sign the compliance agreement and we'll waive the back fines." Think of the children's future. I stood on my porch, phone already recording in my pocket. The children don't live on my property, Karen. And neither do your rules. Klein cleared his throat. Mr. Bennett, the updated maps are public record. Refusal to comply constitutes a continuing violation. We can place a lien. Foreclose if necessary. I laughed short, sharp, the kind that makes polite people uncomfortable. Public record? Show me the county stamp. Show me the vote. Show me anything besides the fairy tale you printed at Kinko's. Karen's pearls actually moved when she clutched them. Well, I never. We're trying to help you, Ryan. Some people just don't understand community. Community, I echoed, tasting the word like spoiled milk. That's HOA speak for do what I say or else. They left in a huff, but not before Karen snapped a photo of my house with her phone like she was documenting a crime scene. I knew then this wasn't about paint. This was about power. And Karen Prescott was terrified of losing even an inch of it. That night the neighborhood next door app lit up. Anonymous posts started popping. Anyone else notice the blue eyesore on Maple Crest? Dragging down values for all of us hardworking families. Comments piled on. He never waves back. Probably one of those loner types. Someone even posted a blurry photo of me carrying paint cans like I was smuggling contraband. I read every comment, sipping whiskey on my back porch while the crickets chirped. They were building the narrative. Painting me as the problem. The outsider. The threat. I didn't comment. I didn't fight back. Not yet. I just hit record and saved every single screenshot. The drone appeared on a Tuesday morning while I was fixing coffee. At first I thought it was a kid's toy gone rogue, that high-pitched whine cutting through the suburban silence like a mosquito on steroids. Then it hovered right over my backyard fence, camera lens glinting in the sun, tilting down toward my patio furniture like it was reading the labels on my beer cans. I stepped outside, phone already filming. You lost, buddy? The drone dipped lower, bold as brass, and I realized this wasn't a kid. This thing had the HOA logo printed on its belly in tiny letters. Karen's little spy in the sky. I walked straight to the garage, grabbed the old Remington 870 I kept for rattlesnakes back when I lived further out, and stepped onto the porch. Safety off. One warning pump of the action, that metallic shuck-shuck that echoes like Judgment Day in a quiet cul-de-sac. The drone froze midair. Then it tried to bolt. Too late. I raised the barrel skyward and squeezed. The blast rolled across the manicured lawns like thunder in church. Plastic exploded. Pieces rained down onto my grass like expensive confetti. One chunk bounced off my truck with a sad little ping. For 3 glorious seconds I felt pure, unfiltered satisfaction. Then reality hit. Half the neighborhood was already peeking through blinds. Less than an hour later 2 sheriff's deputies rolled up. The younger one looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Mr. Bennett, we got a call about a drone incident. I invited them in, showed them the footage. The drone crossing my property line. The HOA logo. The way it lingered over my bedroom window like a pervert with a badge. The deputies watched twice. The older one actually chuckled. Off the record? I'd have done the same. But on the record you might want a lawyer. By evening the next door posts had evolved from eyesore to armed lunatics shooting up the neighborhood. Someone claimed I'd endangered children playing nearby. There were no children. There never had been. But facts don't matter when Karen Prescott is writing the story. Flyers appeared on every mailbox by Friday. Protect our community. Say a no to unsafe behavior on Maple Crest. My face, cropped from security footage, stared back with the shotgun at my side. Out of context, I looked like a madman. I sat at my kitchen table surrounded by printed screenshots, emails, and the growing folder labeled Karen's Greatest Hits. I wasn't angry anymore. I was calculating. Then the inspection crew arrived like they owned the place. Karen in the lead, flanked by Klein the lawyer and 2 guys in matching polo shirts embroidered, compliance enforcement. A rented security guard brought up the rear. Hand resting on a holster like this was the OK Corral. They marched straight through my open gate, the one I'd left unlocked on purpose. Morning, Ryan, Karen sang. Just a routine compliance check under Section 8. You were notified. I stepped onto the porch, phone recording in my shirt pocket, shotgun leaning casually against the rail. You're trespassing. Again. Klein smiled the oily smile of someone who bills by the hour. The updated maps grant us access, Mr. Bennett. Visible violations only. One of the polo guys already had a tape measure out, stretching it across my driveway like he was appraising the crown jewels. I counted to 10 in my head. Then I picked up the shotgun, racked another shell loud, deliberate, and fired straight into the sky. Birds exploded from every tree on the block. The compliance guys hit the dirt like they'd been sniper trained. Karen's mouth formed a perfect O of pearl-clutching horror. The security guard's hand flew to his gun but froze when he saw my barrel pointed nowhere near anyone. Get off my property, I said, voice low and steady. Next time the warning comes with a lawyer. They scrambled backwards so fast one guy left his tape measure behind. Karen was already on her phone, voice trembling with righteous fury. This is assault. He's dangerous. 15 minutes later the same deputies returned. They watched my footage, took statements, and left with a warning for the HOA to stay off my land. But the damage was done. By Monday the local paper ran the headline, "Homeowner in standoff with HOA over house color." The comments section called for my arrest. That same afternoon a thick legal envelope arrived. Sunnyvale Grove HOA v. Ryan Bennett. Brandishing a deadly weapon. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. They wanted an injunction banning me from threatening association personnel, and demanded I repaint within 30 days or face foreclosure. I called Elena Vargas the same day. She'd come recommended by an old army buddy who'd survived his own HOA war. Elena didn't waste time on pleasantries. Ryan, they're bluffing with a stacked deck. But decks can be flipped. Send me everything. I did. Every notice. Every screenshot. Every second of footage. While the neighborhood whispered and Karen posted passive-aggressive thoughts and prayers for community harmony, on Nextdoor, I waited. Patient. Recording. Then the first anonymous email arrived. No subject. Just one line. They're lying. Keep everything. Trust no one. SR. I stared at the screen while the ceiling fan spun lazy circles above me. Someone inside the machine was cracking. The next morning another email. Attachments this time. Internal memos. Draft maps with Karen's personal email in the metadata. A text chain where Klein promised a city zoning clerk steak dinners for life if he pushed the boundary change through quietly. SR was feeding me the rope. All I had to do was tie the noose. By the end of the week the smears had reached my office. My boss got an anonymous tip that I was unstable. Clients started canceling. I still didn't yell. I just forwarded every new attack to Elena with the subject line, Exhibit 47. Karen thought she was winning. She had no idea the countdown had already started. Elena filed the countersuit on a Wednesday: trespass, defamation, fraud, abuse of process, and record tampering. The judge, a no-nonsense woman who'd clearly dealt with Karens before, granted an emergency hearing. The courtroom smelled like old wood and desperation. Karen sat ramrod straight in her Sunday best, pearls polished to a murderous shine. Klein shuffled papers like a man rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. I sat beside Elena, calm as still water, every folder of evidence stacked like ammunition. Klein opened with the usual theater. Your Honor, Mr. Bennett brandished a firearm at peaceful association representatives. He is a clear and present danger to our community. He held up the blown-up photo of me with the shotgun. The gallery murmured. Elena simply smiled and pressed play. The big screen showed the entire inspection crew marching through my gate without permission. The tape measure. The camera clicks. My comm warning. The skyward blast that hurt no one. When the lights came up, the photo looked pathetic. The judge raised an eyebrow. Continue, Mr. Klein. They called their witnesses. The compliance guys stammered about feeling threatened. The security guard tried to claim he'd feared for his life. Elena tore each one apart with quiet precision. Did Mr. Bennett ever point the weapon at you? No. Did you have a warrant? No. Are you law enforcement? No. By lunch, the gallery was shifting in their seats. Karen's smile had frozen into something brittle. Then Elena called our star. A woman in her 40s walked to the stand, Susan Reynolds, former HOA board secretary. SR. She looked like she hadn't slept in weeks, but her voice was steel. Karen asked me to delete the original boundary maps, Susan said. She said the expansion would bring in more dues and let us clean up the edge properties. Jonathan Klein told me exactly how to backdate the files. When I refused, they fired me and threatened my references. She slid the flash drive across. Elena played the emails. The metadata. The steak dinner texts. The judge's face darkened with every line. Karen finally cracked. This is a witch hunt. I was protecting property values. Her voice rose into the shrill register that had probably gotten her through every PDA meeting since 2008. He painted his house blue. Blue. The courtroom actually laughed. The judge didn't. Elena stood. Your Honor, we also have notarized statements from the city zoning clerk confirming no public notice, no vote, no legal annexation ever occurred. This was fraud, pure and simple. The gavel came down like a gunshot. The court finds in favor of the defendant. The HOA's maps are declared fraudulent. The association will pay Mr. Bennett $135,000 in damages and legal fees. All liens are voided. Furthermore, the Sunnyvale Grove HOA is ordered to undergo independent audit and rewrite its governing documents under court supervision. Karen made a sound like a balloon losing air. Her pearls finally snapped, literal pearls scattering across the courtroom floor like tiny defeated soldiers. Outside on the steps, reporters swarmed. I gave them one line. I just wanted to paint my house the color I liked. Then I walked away while Karen stood frozen on the courthouse stairs, clutching what was left of her clipboard like a life raft. 2 weeks later, I dragged the biggest smoker in Sunnyvale Grove into my driveway and taped a sign to the gate. Freedom Friday Cookout. Everyone welcome. No clipboards allowed. By noon, the street was lined with trucks. Neighbors who'd crossed to the other side of the road for months showed up with potato salad and apologies. Mrs. Alvarez brought her famous tamales. Even the deputy who'd taken my statement stopped by off-duty with a six-pack. Around sunset, a man I didn't recognize walked up holding a plate. Ryan? Nate Harper. I'm the new HOA president, elected yesterday after the entire old board resigned in disgrace. He grinned. We're rewriting everything. No more color police. No more fake maps. And your house stays exactly the color it is. I clinked my beer against his. As long as you never measure my grass. He laughed. Deal. As the sky turned that perfect slate blue I loved, I looked around at the laughter, the music, the kids running through sprinklers. This was what Karen had tried to steal. Not the land, not the paint, but the right to live without someone else's rules choking the life out of you. The desert may keep its promises, but Sunnyvale Grove just learned a new one. Mess with one quiet homeowner, and the whole neighborhood might wake up. So tell me, was I wrong for defending my home with a shotgun and a little patience? Or is the real crime letting people like Karen Prescott decide what color your American dream is allowed to be? Drop your verdict in the comments. I'll be here, painting my porch whatever damn color I want.